Today we thought we'd bring you something of an update, and this is kind of a big one because this is the Bell Bullitt, and this is the helmet that we sell as many of these as every other kind of helmet in our collection put together. Since they were first conceived about 5 or 6 years ago, they have been a runaway success. They really gave birth to this retro part of the full-face motorcycle helmet market. Many brands have followed suit. They have a number of different brands out there copying them like for like. But the Bell Bullitt is the original. It comes from a brand that have got a massive experience over the years of pioneering the first full-face helmet, and ever since then they've kept up with being ahead of the game. They sponsor everything from motocross through to MotoGP riders. They have street range, and the Bell Bullitt has really stood out as probably the iconic retro full-face that exists within our part of the motorcycle world. It's a helmet that has clearly been successful, but it's also come in for some criticism. Like anything that gets really popular, that's an inevitability. So we thought we would take the chance in this video to reflect upon the success of it, what makes this helmet so good for anyone that might be considering buying it, as well as address some of the weaknesses and some of the perceived weaknesses too with this helmet. So first of all, the Bell Bullitt is something that covers quite a wide price range. So we're talking anything at RRP from sort of the mid 300s up to the low 500s for something in a carbon fibre shelled finish. But we do always have some great offers in our selection over at urbanrider.co.uk on outgoing colourways, and it's well worth checking out if you can snag a deal. There are wonderful colours, and Bell really do keep on top of their collection, keeping it fresh, and every season we see a host of new and we think really refined colourways. Here's just a selection from the 2020 lineup at the time of release of this video, and there's some wonderful colours here. We have the Transcend Carbon in this deep, almost sort of ruby red, and it is absolutely wonderful teamed up with this gold exterior. This has been one of the most popular out of the carbon colourways, and all of the colourways really just doing very, very well indeed. So in the standard price point, let's say the mid 300 price point for the normal bullets, the non-carbon variants, we have a fiberglass composite shell. So this is a high quality shell in its own right. But what makes the bullets so interesting, I think, aside from the way that they look, is the practical nature of them in certain respects. So we have a really large aperture, as you can see here, to the opening of the helmet. So this means a relatively small chin bar, as you can see, and this harks back to the original design of the Bell Star from the 70s. And this is what this helmet is closely designed to really mimic, kind of throwing back to that retro look. It's quite single-minded in its pursuit aesthetically of that retro look, but it does have this side effect of just giving you really good degree of open visibility, and it makes it feel somewhat like an open face helmet when you're going along. It's great for things like touring, if you know you're not doing motorway speeds predominantly, because you get this large intake, and it's just really good for just being aware of your surroundings and soaking it all in, which as a motorcyclist is what connects us to what we do, and it's why we love riding motorcycles. So that's a really good point. The helmet was actually designed as a concept by an American graduate called Chad Hodge, and he designed it really from scratch, but with this inspiration of the original Bell Star. And they put into production pretty much an exact version equivalent of this concept. And that was really nice to see, because often when any helmet goes from concept to final product, we see a lot of concessions made to get around things like the safety features. This one, being a fiberglass composite or a carbon fiber composite in the higher end priced versions of the Bullitt, is a very safe helmet. It's really well designed and well thought through. We have genuinely good ventilation systems, and we have really neat features such as the Venturi Vent at the back. So this is actually molded into the actual shape of the shell. So an easy way of doing a vent at the back would just be to simply drill a hole, put a cap on it, and a little open and close vent flap so that you can operate it as you wish. This blends into the shell really neatly, and with this little horizontal opening at the back, it creates back pressure, drawing air through from the helmet, creating an airflow, teamed up with these 5 intake vents across the forehead area, which look fantastic. They're really high quality metal pieces rather than plastic, and it just gives the helmet a practical side, but also a very nice and premium looking side to them as well. These helmets, when it comes into the criticism, the real criticism that's leveled at them is the fact that because they're retro, they are not as technical as some of the street helmets. This is kind of self-evident, and it would surprise me if people were choosing this sort of a helmet because they wanted the most technical thing going. But there have definitely been some revisions, it's worth mentioning, since this helmet was first released, to do with things like the fit and the feel of it. So the original liners weren't great, they could be quite uncomfortable, and their shape was not so compromising or universal. And they've really done great work over the years to improve that, and we now have a very nice universal fit, So basically anybody, unless you are at a serious extreme of being round-headed or oval-headed, is going to get on with these. The sizing is true size and it's very comfortable. The EPS liner is high quality. We have 3 different EPS liners and 3 different shells in the sizing range from extra small to 2XL. And this means that relatively speaking, you have a nice compact shell, but with a high quality liner to go along with it. And this helps some way with soundproofing, but make no mistakes about it, this is not one of the quietest helmets on the market. So if you're looking at it, if you're on a very loud bike and you're likely to be doing long motorway constant speeds, it's going to be loud and it's probably not the helmet for you, in all honesty. If you equally need a helmet that is the absolute best when it comes to really bad weather riding, and this is going to be your go-to helmet for those kind of conditions, I would maybe urge you against it as well for that reason. You do not get the best seal around this visor, and because it's such a large visor, clearly it's also letting more sound, and because of the lack of what I would call a really high quality modern street seal, you do get some water, some air getting through the top here as well. There are better helmets for that, and this is not going to be the market leader in that respect. But if you want a helmet that really encapsulates the spirit of sort of retro look to the bikes, but you want something that goes with it really nicely, beautiful finish, beautiful paint scheme, comfortable to wear, timeless in its design, then this is definitely worth considering. So in terms of the interior of the helmet, you get a really nice hypoallergenic removable washable lining, so it's nice and easy to keep on top of the maintenance of these. You get a double D-ring fastening system with a soft, almost suede-like feel to this chin strap pad, which is going to make it comfortable as well. You have a vent operation system just on the inside of the chin guard as well. The helmet itself comes in at about 1,350 grams in the medium. This is basically the same as every other full face in our range. They all come in with a few grams of each other, with one major exception in an upcoming helmet from another brand, but really speaking, this is par for the course. And in terms of the visors, there are loads of different accessories. Bell have a really good part selection available when it comes to accessorizing with the different visors you get. All the ones we have fitted here, as you can see, have a clear flat visor, which is now more or less the default standard as the helmets as they come in the box, but it depends which one you go for. Sometimes you might get a smoke shield as well to go with it, particularly with the carbon ones, possibly a leather bag as well. You can always accessorize. Some of the previous ones came with a bubble clear shield as well, and they are all available in tons of different finishes and colorways, and they're usually around about the £40 mark, so you can accessorize nicely. Some of the chrome and smoke visors make these helmets look absolutely stunning. Really big fans of that. So as you can tell, when it comes to the Bell Bullitt, we're big fans, not only because it's done very well for us, but clearly there are lots of people out there that really appreciate what Bell are doing with this helmet. This is something that is undeniably more at the retro end of the full face helmet market, but it still has some really nice technical features incorporated very neatly into a really classy looking helmet that's high quality, comes with a 5-year guarantee. That's definitely worth mentioning. So this is really good. So this helmet is going to last. It's an investment in some ways as well. So if you have any further thoughts, comments or feedback, do leave that in the section below. We do love hearing from you guys. And as always, subscribe to our channel to be the first to find out about the world's finest riding gear. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.